Imagine spending months turning a patch of dirt into the lawn of your dreams. Early mornings with a hose in hand. Weekends sweating under the sun. Every blade of grass cared for like it mattered. But what happens when someone decides your hard work is nothing more than a shortcut? That's exactly what happened to Ethan Ward, a man who thought he had finally found peace in his dream home, until the neighborhood's HOA president, Victoria Cross, decided to cut across his property day after day. At first, Ethan stayed quiet. He tried to be polite, but silence only encouraged her, and soon their quiet suburban street would turn into a battlefield where respect, pride, and power collided. When Ethan Ward signed the closing papers for his new house just outside Charlotte, it felt like a victory. He was 44, an IT consultant with the freedom to work from home. More importantly, he had finally given his wife, Claire, and their 2 kids, Mason, age 10, and Ava, age 7, a home with space to grow. Ethan had grown up in small apartments in Ohio. He'd never had a real yard, never pushed a lawnmower over something that belonged to him. So when the moving truck pulled away and he stood barefoot in his new grass, he whispered to Claire, "This is it. This is what I always wanted." She smiled and said softly, "It's ours now." That summer, Ethan made it his mission to turn the yard into something special. Trips to the hardware store became routine. Fertilizer stacked up in the garage. He planted sod row by row, watered it carefully, and watched as fragile blades of green slowly took root. To Ethan, it wasn't just grass. It was proof that he had built something, lasting for his family. That's when he first met her, Victoria Cross. One Saturday afternoon, as Ethan sweated over flower beds, she walked over with sunglasses perched high and a clipboard tucked under her arm. "You must be the Wards," she said. "Welcome to Crestwood Estates. I'm Victoria Cross, HOA president." Her handshake was firm. Her smile was tight. She pointed at Claire's flower bed. "Looks nice. Just make sure you stick to the approved color scheme. No bright purples or oranges. We like things uniform here." Ethan nodded, caught a little off guard. "Got it. Thanks for the heads up." Victoria scanned the yard like an inspector. "We're a community that takes pride in appearances. Everyone does their part. And don't worry, if something's off, I'll let you know." Then she waved politely and walked away. Claire raised an eyebrow. "Well, that was friendly." Ethan chuckled nervously. "Yeah, one of those neighborhood types. Overly involved, but harmless. At least that's what he thought." It happened on a Monday morning. Ethan stood at the kitchen window with a mug of coffee when he saw it. Victoria's silver SUV rolling across the edge of his lawn. She didn't slow down. Didn't even glance at his house. The tires carved straight across the grass, leaving 2 deep ruts in the soil he had just watered. Mud sprayed against the driveway he had power washed the day before. Ethan stepped outside, crouched down, and touched the torn roots. His chest tightened. All that work ruined in seconds. That night at dinner, he told Claire. She just drove across the lawn, like it was a paved road. Claire frowned. Maybe she didn't realize? Maybe, Ethan muttered. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Scene 4, the confrontation. The next evening, Ethan decided to address it calmly. He walked across the street as Victoria unloaded groceries. Hey, Victoria. Just wanted to mention, you might have driven across my yard this morning. Left some tracks. She glanced at him, adjusted a carton of orange juice, and said flatly, Oh, that? Yeah, I do that sometimes. It's quicker than going around. Don't worry, it's not hurting anything. Ethan blinked. Well, I've been trying to get the sod to take... It's fragile, Victoria smirked. You don't understand how things work here. I've been in this neighborhood since they broke ground. We all cut across when we need to. With that, she turned back to her car, ending the conversation as if it were settled. Ethan stood frozen, stunned at the dismissal. Back home, Claire asked, So, what did she say? Ethan sighed. She basically told me, it's her neighborhood, not mine. And that was the first crack in the relationship. From then on, Ethan watched each morning. And each morning, Victoria's SUV cut across his lawn. It felt less like a shortcut and more like a statement. Neighbors noticed, too. The elderly couple next door, the Harrisons, shook their heads when they saw it, but said nothing. No one wanted to cross Victoria. She had a reputation for making life miserable for anyone who challenged her. But for Ethan, every rut in the grass, every muddy track, was personal. One morning, he confronted her again. Victoria, please. You can't keep driving across my yard. It's disrespectful. She tilted her head. Disrespectful? Don't be dramatic. It's just a patch of lawn. It's not just a patch. It's mine. Her voice hardened. Do you really want to pick a fight with me? I can make your life complicated. The words stung. And they weren't just a warning, they were a promise. Ethan tried different approaches. A polite note taped to her door. Conversations with other neighbors. Even patching the lawn every weekend, hoping she'd see the effort. But every time her SUV rolled across again, sometimes faster, throwing mud onto his mailbox as if she enjoyed the reaction, Claire noticed the change in him. This isn't about grass anymore, is it? She asked one night. Ethan shook his head. No, it's about her thinking she owns me. The kids noticed too, little Ava asked. Daddy, why does that lady always drive on our grass? Don't people use the road? Ethan forced a smile. Some people don't care about rules, sweetie, but we'll figure it out. But inside, the question haunted him. What was he teaching his kids, except being walked over? Or stand up for yourself no matter the cost? By late October, Ethan's lawn looked like a battlefield. Every rut was a scar, every muddy groove a reminder of the daily disrespect. He patched. He watered. He replanted. But nothing stopped Victoria. One Friday morning, as her SUV cut across yet again, Ethan stood at the window, fists clenched. Claire's voice came from behind him. You can't let her walk over you forever. Ethan, she'll never stop until you make her. And in that moment, Ethan knew silence was no longer an option. The neighborhood thought they had seen tension, but the real battle hadn't even begun. Imagine this. You finally buy the home of your dreams. A quiet neighborhood, wide streets, trimmed lawns, and the promise of peace. For Ethan Ward, his wife Claire, and their two kids, Mason and Ava, this place was supposed to be a fresh beginning. But sometimes, the picture-perfect neighborhood hides shadows. The Ward family pulls into their driveway, the moving truck unloading box after box. Mason runs toward the backyard, already imagining soccer games. Ava twirls in excitement, dreaming of new friends. Claire whispers to Ethan, This feels like the start of something beautiful. But before Ethan can answer, a sharp voice cuts through the air. A woman in her late 50s, perfectly dressed, clipboard in hand, approaches. Victoria Cross, president of the Homeowners Association. Victoria smiles. But it's the kind of smile that feels more like a warning. Welcome to our community. I trust you've read the HOA guidelines. We expect everyone to keep things in order. Ethan nods politely, unaware that this brief encounter will mark the beginning of a nightmare. Just 2 days later, Ethan finds a letter taped to his front door. Violation. Trash bin visible from the street. Correct immediately. Claire laughs it off. It's just a rule, we'll move it. But by the end of the week, 3 more letters arrive. Grass too long. Welcome mat not approved. Kids' bicycles left in the driveway. Ethan begins to realize this isn't just about rules. It's about control. At first, Ethan tries to be friendly. He waves at George and Margaret Harrison, the elderly couple next door. But instead of waving back, they quickly close their curtains. At night, Ethan notices shadows standing at windows. Whispers fade when he walks by. The neighborhood isn't welcoming. It's watching. One evening, Mason accidentally kicks his soccer ball into Victoria's yard. He runs to grab it, but Victoria storms outside. Your children must learn boundaries. This is not a playground. Ethan, trying to stay calm, replies, He's just a kid. We'll be careful. But Victoria's eyes narrow. One more mistake, Mr. Ward, and I'll see to it personally that your family regrets it. The following weeks turn darker. Their mailbox is smashed. Anonymous complaints reach Ethan's workplace, accusing him of misconduct. Police show up late at night after a noise complaint, even though the house is silent. Claire begins to cry at night. Mason refuses to play outside. Ava asks, Daddy, why don't the neighbors like us? Ethan has no answer. One morning, Ethan finds their front lawn covered with dead flowers and a note. Leave, or things will get worse. That night, the family hears footsteps outside their window. When Ethan rushes out with a flashlight, there's nothing but silence. And the feeling of being watched. The dream home is becoming a prison. Narrator, tense, dramatic. What Ethan doesn't know is that this was only the beginning. The HOA, the neighbors, and Victoria herself had far darker plans for the Ward family. For weeks, the Ward family lived under constant fear. Letters, threats, silence from neighbors, all orchestrated by one woman, Victoria Cross. But Ethan had reached his breaking point. One night, Ethan stays awake. From the upstairs window, he sees a figure slipping through his yard. Following quietly, he realizes, it's not just Victoria. Several neighbors, including the Harrisons, are meeting in Victoria's garage. Ethan sneaks closer, and what he hears chills him to the bone. The Wards won't last another month. Just like the last family. They'll be forced out. Ethan suddenly understands. They've done this before. The neighborhood wasn't cursed. It was controlled. The next morning, Ethan storms into the HOA meeting. I know what you're doing. Intimidation, lies, harassment. This stops now. Victoria smiles coldly. You don't understand, Mr. Ward. This community survives because of order. Those who don't belong are removed. When Ethan threatens to go to the police, Victoria's tone sharpens. Go ahead. Who do you think they'll believe? A newcomer? Or an entire neighborhood? But not everyone agrees. Margaret Harrison, trembling, finally speaks. Victoria, this has gone too far. We can't keep doing this. Victoria snaps back. Silence, Margaret, or you'll be next. For the first time, Ethan sees doubt in the neighbor's eyes. The fear is cracking. That evening, Ethan records Victoria and her loyalists vandalizing his property. With evidence in hand, he calls the police. This time, when officers arrive, the truth can't be hidden. Victoria is arrested, screaming that she'll take the neighborhood down with her. The HOA is dissolved. The neighbors scatter ashamed.